Hi, I'm Gabriel Hardman, and today I'm going to be drawing Hal Jordan from Green Lantern Earth 1, a book I drew and co-wrote with Creative Echo. So, actually, this drawing pinups like this isn't exactly what we do. Drawing comics is really being a storyteller more than being an illustrator. But I guess you'll probably get some sense of my process through this. I'll be drawing the won't have a mask. And in the book, he really just wears a flight suit that sort of becomes his Green Lantern outfit when the emblem illuminates on his chest. So it's Green Lantern, right? So the first thing that you got to think about is light. I think about lighting first about virtually everything when I'm drawing because it's a way to shape the drawing, but it's also a way to ground it. And I've always felt like in Green Lantern, the way Green Lantern's portrayed, he always has this sort of bubble of light around him, which is very flat. And I'm always trying to work against that. All of it comes out of the story. All my design choices for Green Lantern come out of the story. I wanted. There's no opportunity in the story for him to have a specialized costume, and he's an astronaut when he gets the ring, and so he is wearing basically the underlayer suit of his EVA astronaut outfit when he gets it, and so that's his uniform. It's basically it's just sort of backwards engineered. And I think that kind of verisimilitude is what we're looking for in the Green Lantern Earth 1. In the Earth 1 universe, so that it distinguishes itself. There's a huge appeal in telling a story that people can jump onto without knowing everything about the character already, and it's an opportunity to introduce the character to people who would not necessarily read a Green Lantern book otherwise, because they might be intimidated by the level of continuity, the amount of just stuff that's already out there that they feel like they need to know. So this is a book you can just jump straight into. This brush pen is a little bit more like what I would normally use. I do draw everything traditionally, and I do storyboards for a living. Otherwise, for movies like Interstellar and Inception and Logan, most recently. I have to do all those digitally because that's just the sort of workflow of how movie making works. But I really like to draw on paper and use real ink and be able to, make messy textures and everything. And I, for the most part, use real brushes and inks, and which is, not that common anymore. But in comics, I always do that. In comics, I always do as traditionally as I possibly can because it's possible to. Hal Jordan in this book is Jeff Bridges from 1981. And he's not exactly that. I mean, he's not. I don't slavishly look at photos of Jeff Bridges from then. But like in my head, that's who's playing the character. So he doesn't even exactly look like him in the book, which is fine. I wouldn't want to draw something where where he looked so so much like an actor or something that it would take readers out of the book. I always like to base a character on somebody so that I have this kind of something to hold on to, something that tells me I'm in the right ballpark with it, and that he because otherwise you could fall into something where all of your characters kind of look the same, or there's a sort of genericness to it, which I don't particularly like. I like things to be specific, and I think that the universal comes out of the specific. I'm of that school of cartooning. A lot of it comes out of spending so many years doing storyboards, where I've always had to work quickly. So at a certain point, I just don't have. I feel like I can see the drawing on the page, and it's not as much like I have to make every line twice in order to be confident enough to start drawing. And also, I just like the improvisational quality and the energy that you can get out of just diving in and drawing rather than inking. I mean, I don't think of it as inking at all. I think of it as drawing with ink. Maybe that doesn't sound like it's that different, but trust me, it is. I'm telling you, I'm the one who does this for a living. Every character in the story has different demands. So, I mean, it's, he has the sort of energy, from the power ring when he's using it, and that's gonna. I mean, the main thing to think about with that is that how it interacts with the environment that he's in. How that's gonna change the lighting around him rather than him. And a lot of this is very getting ink all over the place. It's very messy. That's the way I like it. Comics and films, comics and storyboards are very different disciplines because there are different ends to what you're doing. But I think that it also has been very beneficial for me to know how lenses work and how how to stage scenes for a movie, and the ways that I can use some of those lessons in comics and think they're not one-to-one, and comics are definitely not films, but I think that the amount of knowledge, interdisciplinary knowledge you have is always going to help you in something else. I wish I had a bottle of ink that I could just so I could slather lots of ink on here and make a big black background, but this is going to do. It'll be fun. One of the things that was a lot of fun in the book is our ability to show very different and exotic sort of worlds and planets, and suggest that this is all happening in a very big and diverse galaxy, and we see that all through the eyes of Hal Jordan. He's our point of view character. He is he's experiencing all of this stuff for the first time, so he's not kind of like cynical observer who knows all this already. We're discovering this galaxy with him. So I think that's one of the best things about it. It's one of the best things about being able to tell an origin story, and one that is slightly different from the regular one, where this Hal Jordan doesn't have all the answers at the beginning, and he has to sort of muddle his way through and find his place in the world. And he there isn't the support system of the Corps and the Guardians and all that sort of stuff is not in place when he gets the ring, and so he has to kind of figure a lot of things out for himself, which makes for a more kind of perilous and dynamic situation for him. The way that I normally work, I only use a couple of materials, and mostly everything is inked with a brush, and a brush with a very fine tip, so I can go in and ink a lot of these details with the brush, like at the same time as doing the rest of it. I mean, these materials make for a slightly different way to do it, but this is a little bit more how I would do like a convention sketch. I'm Gabriel Hardman, and this is my version of Green Lantern from Green Lantern Earth 1.